Jesus freak here. And I guess my furball wanted a little piece of the action. Alright. This was bought for me. And I'm usually like, oh, I like to have a heads up on packages, but I'm like, I understand, something sent as probably was for my birthday. you don't want to give someone a heads up on that. So I'm glad that, my neighbors found the package and made sure I got it. Oh, you. Wonder who Lithos is. It's like your typical hardback. Oh, it's a Christian publisher. Should have figured. They included this little map. As I haven't read Pilgrim's Progress, but I'm aware it's an allegory, a very thin allegory. One of the hymns in my collection actually originates as a sort of detached version of something, and I think comes from here. There's a hymn in one of my hymnals. Let's see if I can find... here it is. And a guy named Percy Darmer, who worked on the English hymnal with Ralph Vaughan Williams and some other Anglicans in the early 20th century, rewrote some lines, I guess, from this and created the hymn, "He Who Would Valiant Be." I haven't had a reason to use "He Who Would Valiant Be" in any of my videos, so but I'm aware of its origins in the Pilgrim's Progress. They added a little biographical sketch about John Bunyan. Some other essays in the front. And it's clear enough that, this wouldn't have been hard for me to read even, 35 years ago when I would have easily devoured a library. They added marginal notes for difficult words. That's a good feature considering that this imprint is catering specifically to a young audience. And it's very much printed for young readers. It looks like it might be, it's bound and stitched. It's a Smythe sewn. A lot of hardbound books I've found, they're not Smythe sewn. They're perfect bound. I've mentioned before, I showed y'all a copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that was falling apart because the glue had rotted. Now, a little bit of a gotcha. They say this is the original text, but they've cleaned up the English a bit, I guess. I understand, they're targeting a young audience. Interesting thing they did here. The scripture citations are in the margins. They're not King. They say on the copyright page that they use the ESV for the citations. That's kind of daft, considering that Bunyan himself would have used the KJV. So, honestly, they should have used, I think, the KJV for the citations. It's illustrated, and I think they mention referencing an 1850s version. No, they claim the illustrations themselves. But these look like the 19th century illustrations that would fit their claim that they based it off of an 1853 edition. It's very much, a modern typesetting, but the illustrations and stuff are very much 19th century ones. Now, given the time period this was written, I should almost certainly be able to find it without modernization on Project Gutenberg. I think that's gutenberg.org. I think I might even have downloaded it at some point. They make the UPC easy to come off. That's a nice feature. Because if you want it in your library and it's got the UPC on the back, it's kind of tacky. Now, I find it a little misleading that they don't credit the adapter. What's her name again? Lauren Ducommon. Anywhere except on the second title page. Because you get the impression that this is the original text. It's not the original text. Except for, like the preface and stuff. Still, I'm not going to look a good gift horse in the mouth. It's probably easier, even for me, 44, to read this than to try to read a text file, TXT ASCII text, no formatting, off of a website, And for anything I could do with such a book myself, I've taken stuff off the internet and made my own printed editions that are pretty nice, but not to this caliber. Anyway, Jesus, freak out. My cat's eyeing me from the computer chair on the other side of the room.